slide.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure today to host His Excellency Ali Al-Jarwan, the Chief Executive Officer of Dragon Isle, for some thoughts and presentation regarding the activities and the innovative solutions that provided by Dragon Isle in the field of climate change and green economy. His Excellency Ali Al-Jarwan, please.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure basically to share my thought, to share my personal experience about the transformation of our journey. It is long, it have started long time ago when I was employed in Abu Dhabi. I was the Chief Executive Officer of the ADNOC offshore for 10 years, and before that there is so many positions I occupied and run so many projects. The journey is long, but as long as you define your objective, you learn, you share, then you care about the environment, about the people who are living, especially with you, their exposure of risk in the plants, in the offshore, and in the onshore as well. So I think the journey starts with mindset. If you care, whatever amount of saving you do from emission point of view, from energy saving, it is a lot actually. And for instance, we start to make more greenery in our locations. We plant so many trees and appreciate basically when the environment become greenery, and then we rationalize the use of water. This is basic thing, but it should be done correctly. And when you couple this one with the electrical digitalization, you become to appreciate the energy efficiency. This is one. Then other, if you can't do a lot of things with doing nothing actually, more for less. For instance, when you are burning gas and you align your operation between gas and oil as much as possible during upset situation, you could save 20% of the gas, being flared by doing nothing but coordinating closely, monitoring closely, and calculating your target, and you measure basically your performance, data. So to talk about United Arab Emirates, I will not say that we are number one in the world, but we are one of the country who are committed, to improve the performance of the oil, of the gas, of other sort also of renewable. It is no secret that UAE have, 3 nuclear plants. It is no secret that we have so many solar, energy centers in Abu Dhabi and Dubai especially, and now the third Emirate Sharjah, they start to have some solar energy. Consideration for hydrogen is being considered, the blue hydrogen in Abu Dhabi because of the oil, gas, and in Dubai, there is pilot for green hydrogen. And most importantly, really the commitment of the leadership of the country. They are committing themselves for so much investment in the transition to be sure that we are, reducing, the emission, and we are offsetting the emission by other acts like plantation. And I remember when I was a child, the Emirates mainly desert. It is 99%, maybe more, maybe close to 100%. And now it is different. You see the trees on the roads, you see the encouragement of the government for farming and having innovative way of improving the productivity, per square kilometer or per square meter. So this is it. The idea that, I think that our future will be energy mix. Oil and gas demand is still very high, to be very practical. So what is required from the oil and gas sector to be responsible? Our charge not only to produce oil, but to control emission as much as we can, to control leaks as much as we can. And in practical, terms, we have to be very pragmatic. In theoretical terms, we should have the zeros, zero emission, zero leak, and full control, and learning and responding very quickly if there is anything went outside, our control. So to reinstate control, if you like. So we should have resilient performance. So the two topics which is close to our mind and heart, if you like, it is the zero flaring. We have a good story to share with you. In Egypt, we have zero flaring. And actually, we bought the asset from BP, very, high performance company. And they have almost 95%, and we complete, the performance to have it 100%. So what we do with the gas, we use it for gas lift closed system, and we send the gas to the government so they can get, the liquids from it, and then they give us, the dry gas again to add it to our system. And part of it, we use it for gas injection as well. So rarely we have flaring, unless we have really emergency situation, and it will stay for hours, not days. Because again, the degree of response was practiced to the point that should be improved. And we do, so many exercises, so many drill for the gas flaring, for the pollution, if something happened. So this is for Turkmenistan, for Egypt. For Iraq, we are building the project. We started in the last 4 years, increasing our production from 5,000, and today we are producing 62,000 barrels per day, and it will go to 100,000 by the year end of 2024. However, in parallel to build the oil and gas separation, we are building in the same time, process for the gas, to be sure that we take all the flare and make it zero, and generate more liquid, LPG, naphtha, and inject it to the oil to improve the API. And dry gas is really being compressed to the government, so they use it for power generation. And as you know that, the gas is much more friendly than the oil. It have very high energy efficiency, when they are used for power generation. So by beginning of 2025, we'll have zero flaring in Iraq. In Turkmenistan, because it is really old system, and we have two high pressure and low pressure systems. And we have plan and agreement with the government, alignment. So we are both concerned, Dragon Oil as Abu Dhabi, as Dubai, owned company, and the host government of Turkmenistan to have zero flaring by 2027. There will be a gradual reduction, but there is very high commitment, and we have budget, we have schedule. Currently, we are producing associated gas of 140 to 150 million, depending on the production of both oil and gas. 80 million sent to the government directly. We do have compression station. It's quite old, and now we would like to have new machinery and innovative approach to make it cost effective even for the government, because we work on cost recovery of any capital investment. So the downtime of these facilities will be almost zero, to be sure that we can pump even more. And that's 80 million plus 30 million we have here now in the onshore. So we'll be, compressing 110 directly to the government. And we are developing dialogue with the government to be sure that we are not transferring the difficulties to them, that, we have zero flaring and then our neighbor maybe have flaring. So we'd like to have something which is more unique, more consistent, harmony between two operators, between two facilities. And we hope that, our gas will be joining the gas grid. So we'll be sure that the efforts we put investment that will be fully utilized, by the grid. And for the offshore, there is two solutions we are considering in our projects and budget, and that is compression to inject the gas to the reservoir. It have also advantage to enhance oil recovery. It will give us more production. And other part of it, even we are considering to have gas to liquid. So there is small module now you put on the platform, and it can convert 10 million and produce maybe 1,000, 1,500. We are making the parametric study. It's available in the market. So there is a lot of innovation. It requires deployment. And that's why the mindset for us and for the younger people have to be agile toward, that transition of the, journey in the oil and gas. So that will make it, to 20 million. And the 10 million we will have solution for it also. We may re-inject it to the high pressure, line. So we are developing our gas master plan. And the investment actually is efficient, with the available. Previously they have big compression, and they should be driven either by turbines or by power generation. And now they have gas engines, they call it. And they are just connected with the rotor and could derive, the compression, and this is cost effective, much lower than, the investment of the previous machinery, taking advantage of the available technology and innovation of so many good companies worldwide wanted to, make business, with you. So this is the story about the gas flaring. And most importantly, that we should have stronger commitment every day by practice, toward flaring and emission. For the water also, because it have heavy metals. In Iraq, we did not have, because this is, grassroots development, still fresh. We did not go to water injection. But the plan to have effluent water, to inject all separated water from the oil to the aquifer directly. And the aquifer is purely water, so we don't, mix with the oil. In Egypt, the government would like to have, it's like refinery of the water. And the oil part per million is very little. But for mercaptan, for lead, all heavy metals have to be separated. They have strong commitment. We done pilot, but unfortunately the pilot did not succeed. And our idea easier to inject it to the aquifer. You save hundreds of millions of dollars, and you become productive or protective of the Gulf of Suez, water. In Turkmenistan, our water cut is about 30%. So producing 100,000, it means that 30 plus thousand barrel of water is separated. And we created water pond. It's really about 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. We just, pump the water there and leave it to evaporize. And this was very practical solution. With the increase of water injection, we have planned to basically separate the water at the offshore and inject it to the aquifer to be sure that we don't have, we have really good handling, and not to make, bets for the, water with some oil, content or heavy metals. So the journey is really continuous improvement. You do something, then you discover you can do it more efficient, or you can add. And this is from my experience in ADNOC. I was taking care of the entire offshore. And of course, ADNOC with the big scale, a lot of things have been done. Then your journey should be linked also to best practice, attending conferences, learning, and encouraging young people to derive this process for the future. This is one. I will elaborate more The other part of it, I found it very important for oil and gas companies, and we are doing also in Dragon Oil, protection of polluting the ocean, especially, close sea like Gulf of Suez, like the Caspian Sea. It is very sensitive to, pollution. And we are making the highest measure by inspecting the pipes, a lot of intelligence pigging, UT inspection, to be sure that we assess the remnant life of the pipes. And we really center option to solve either mitigation measure or replacement. And we never allow for weak point in the system that will create some problem of leaks. And if leaks happen, because again, we're talking about 1,500 kilometers of pipes subsea, we have emergency team, to really respond very quickly, and we test our response. Expert people, we train our contractor who have so many vessels in the area to respond and recover any oil, to use booms as much as possible, to use the chemical dispersant to cut or break the oil sheen, to allow basically evaporization and sinking of the heavy very quickly without allowing pollution. So we do this one 4 times a year. We test our ability to respond. We measure the availability of material, adequacy of all the equipment we have, and we change some of them if necessary. And that's very important to update your capabilities. So we are a company equipped with pollution fighting. This is the responsible way of producing. You have to be a responsible producer, not to allow things to chances. And you do this from design point of view. Other activities, we have so many bit and pieces application which reduce CO2 emission. I'll give you one example. We have something like 22 storage tank of oil, and there was evaporization of the CO2 and methane. So we put recovery units in all of them, and we saved 25,000 ton of CO2 emission. A small thing, but it's good. Then you have piping system to re-inject the oil to the tank. So it's a closed process, and any evaporization recovered again. So this was very useful. A small thing, but the saving was very good. And whenever there is opportunity, we do it. Now, from educational point of view and preparing for the future generation, the young people, to really have their belief that more support to the renewable, more support to opportunities available from the grassroots when you design projects. We involve them. We involve people from universities. We go there, we give speeches to the universities. We even sponsor people who are making research in renewable, even solar, wind. They have different form of energy transformation. I'm amazed. I went to the different technology centers in the country, and I was impressed by the young people. This is how to nurture, basically, new generation, fully equipped with the knowledge, fully equipped with the responsibility, to support the transformation to really net zero by 2050, hopefully. And I see that, it's working. Other thing, you can engage young people through conferences. In Dragon Oil, we already created our own conference. We call it Go Tech, to encourage technology and innovation. And with time, we put more emphasis into the clean energy, to the net zero. Through conferences, we bring expertise from outside and responsible people, from different companies. And we done this one also. I was chairman of the ATCEE. This is one of the ancient and very important conference by the Society of Petroleum Engineers, with 120 years old, started in the early 1900s. And how the agenda is really about the zero flaring and the debate between oil, companies of Aramco, ADNOC, and the environment people who believe more in the zero flaring. So at least there is some sort of, normalization of the thinking. What is the pragmatism of the energy mix, and how we can, divert and move to the energy mix as much as possible. In this meeting, we involved also young, professional and university students more and more, to be sure that, they are the driver of the future. I mean, one day we will really decline, step down from our jobs and, give it to them. But before we do this, we should engage them at all levels. My definition of young professional, using the SPE background, is 35 years and below, starting from even the schools, elementary school, intermediate, high school. A lot of, knowledge sharing could be done. And for sure in the universities, they are involved, encouraged. We do competition for innovation from, research centers and universities. In my previous jobs, we were, examining research of CO2 injection, from exhaust fan of so many machinery we have. And I remember that we done 2 research with the universities in USA, one of them Texas A&M, and one of them Stanford. Stanford really formulation of simulation model, so we can really characterize the chemical and the physical behavior of CO2 in oil or in water. And Texas A&M just to encourage and to test different catalysts to be sure that we have efficient, CO2 in water, how it is dissolved. And we involved so many people there through scholarship, young people to do the application when we come to Abu Dhabi. And from service facilities, we are contacting so many, industrial companies who can compress CO2, it's like Mitsubishi, for instance. So oil and gas sector is not short of idea. They are not short of also experiments. And it is a matter of accelerating the application, because CO2 by itself is good recovery mechanism. It increases, the recovery of oil, and you can circulate CO2 when it come and make a breakthrough. So this is one point. Then other point, which is really show the strength of the oil and gas. We managed so many projects with the industrialized companies, so many in engineering, in producing, manufacturer, or equipment. So the project management skills of the oil and gas is marvelous. And we can manage the hydrogen or the new one easily, because again, it follows the same value assurance process. We call it VAP. This is available in BP, in Shell, in ADNOC, in Dragon Oil. So the expertise and the degree of skills and knowledge available in the oil and gas can help very much governments, private sectors, or the partnership. Most of the panels in COP28 talked about. So oil and gas, instead of being, assumed that they are, some sort of negative to the environment, however, they have a lot of things to offer to support the transformation. And beside, of course, the UN, credit scheme also. You can produce and you can plant 1 trillion trees, like, Saudi Arabia have, over 10 years. So these type of things. So I hope that I gave you brief, but some, idea about, our understanding of the transformation. It's continuous improvement, continuous efforts, engaging the young people, and of course we are led by excellent, I would say from my point of view, leadership of the country. We are blessed, to be in UAE, and we are blessed with our excellent relationship with so many big international, of course, countries and manufacturers, and we have so many partnership from industrial point of view. Thank you very much. So I will be happy to share with you any question, observation you have, and maybe you will give me more even, knowledge to it.
Can you just elaborate on Zayed's reef we created on Ras Island, and also elaborate on the mangrove project on Dragon Oil?
Yeah. I think again, the oil and gas always use opportunity around you. In my previous, job, we have some platform which is aged to 45 years, and the company does not know what to do with them. And we made rigs to reef. So we cut them to pieces in the same location, and to create, more environment for fishes to grow, good environment, corals on the, things. So we developed this idea further. We made artificial reefs. We really designed, certain stones and platform from cement, very friendly to the environment, and we made homes, grids, to the fishes. And letter Z, it's about 3 kilometers from the Das Island where we export oil. And we monitor. It was really fantastic experience where growth of fish was beautiful to watch, beautiful to see. And you develop artificial, reefs. We do more. In Dragon Oil, we investigated basically making more mangroves around the pond we made and leak some water. And this require experiments. The early, theoretical experience that the country go to cold weather, to something like, 1 degrees, difficult to mangrove to live. And this is really a month of January. And the theoretical advice that, maybe it is not the perfect condition for mangroves to survive. However, we will pilot. We'll see if we can help by protecting the temperature around some of the, plantation, and see how this will grow. Yeah. You're welcome. Sure. Sure. Right. 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 Thank you. Very challenging question, but I mean, the practice is COP28 and the other COP series create alignment between government officials, between oil and gas leaders, plus other renewable leaders. So I think without partnership, it will be difficult to execute. And I see, for instance, in our country, both in Abu Dhabi and Dubai especially, there is a lot of partnership. Both the financial institution and in the scientific institution. In the solar, it will not be possible to really deploy the current technology, this big scale. And it was done, supported by international banks also, which is another step, and belief that renewable have, economical sense to do. And both the risk and reward is being shared. It is long-term, solution instead of, getting your capital return back within 3 years. You can stay 10 years, and with the support of the countries. So there is agreement between the countries, and we are talking about especially, USA, France, European countries, Japan, China, and because they have the technology and they are supporting the process. And wherever the money is possible and guaranteed through UN plus, rich countries like United Arab Emirates, and have positive view about the transformation. Things can happen. For us, smaller company, we have so many, companies of medium size, in the oil and gas, and there is so many products available of environmental compliance nature, and we try to find. I will give you an example in the drilling. Previously we are using oil-based mud, and the oil-based mud usually it have big chance to pollute the surrounding, and we changed to synthetic mud. It's available, service companies slightly more expensive, but we made it possible to work. These small initiatives can be applied. Now we have, for instance, energy from hydrogen. We have smaller module which could be applied, and now the world are more concerned about the transformation. So this is the alignment when I talk about big conference. You have ministers from so many countries attending and giving their views, so at least we understand each other. Networking is very important to boost this process as well. So it is long journey, but I think every time we have COP and record of where we are, we have better confidence, to do the transformation. So it is really surrounding what we want to do, but there is so many choices available, and sharing the best practice, scaling up some of the operation, what have been done, for instance, in Egypt. I'm trying to transport to Turkmenistan in terms of zero flaring. So it's becoming fact. And there is a lot of opportunities around us, and we have to look seriously about them with the mindset that we should improve every time. We should have KPIs for the improvement and measure our steps. I mean, we have a strategy of the transformation, KPIs and measurement every year. How much? Are you improving 1%? Are you improving 10%? And where are the practices which give you better yield in this journey? Thank you very much. Very valuable question. You're welcome. You're welcome. Please. Sure, sure. Very valuable, comments. And I think from perspective of knowledge and skills available in the oil and gas sector, it is tremendous, and it is international. You know, if you have joint venture, for instance, like in Abu Dhabi and even in my, you know, area in Dragon Oil, where you have international operator, you know, mixed with local operator, and they can make, you know, joint commitment. You know, we work with the Seven Sisters and Shell, Exxon, Mobil, to improve our health, safety, environment system. And it was done very quickly. The transformation was done within 1 year. So for oil companies, we have special division of technology and innovation. We really give space for our specialists to provide solution. And the solution could be production, could be cost management, or it could be environmental. The culture of innovating, trying to find, you know, new solution, original, you know, again, doing less, but it gives you really to open the envelope in terms of, you know, application and saving, or, you know, again, protection of the environment. So it is very important, you know, to have in every organization technology and innovation. Give space for young people, give space for frontiers, and then encourage basically project management to have something new between the relationship with our partners. They could be big, you know, manufacturers or design company or project company, or between even countries, you know, because things will be elevated at the country level. And we found it useful. I will give you example, for instance, for the smart fields. You know, the technology with so many companies, but the best three from my experience: Honeywell, Yokogawa, Emerson. And why you do smart fields? Of course, to improve the efficiency of producing, but at the same time, it is really one of the quick digitalization to avoid waste. And so if you have sensor on every valve, you can react very quickly, and you could save the, you know, damage to the environment if there is gas releases or something. And if you automate it fully, you know, in the PLC, they call it, you know, for all the programs, it means that you are efficient. You try to make almost zero, you know, damage to the environment. And you can learn, you can retract by even seconds what happened, you know, initiation of events. So this is integrated solution, and you cannot do it alone. You require the manufacturer, you require the designer, you require the operator, and you even learn from the commissioning phase when you commission your project. So it is vital to encourage the innovation, you know, process, and appreciate that innovation foster on differences, even the dialogue. You know, the clarification is another way to clarify. I noticed that the demand on oil is very high, but we should not enjoy this one. This is scary because we are going to the other way. But to talk about it, how we can do better control. So this is the key, and you are right, it's innovation, to encourage more innovation. I was happy to be invited by His Excellency, the Chairman of WGEO in Dubai here. I'm a member, by the way, with him, Mr. Saeed Al-Tayr, His Excellency, to the new opening of the solar system with the, you know, tower concentration of heat, you know, to store, you know, power. It was amazing. It was producing, the way I understand from the presentation, 950 megawatt in single site. So that is innovation done by more than one partnership. It is DIWA with Empower, and then supported by different banks, you know, beside the government of Dubai. So that's innovation by itself. You know, when you have diversity, you have, you know, a variety of solutions using, you know, the available technology in the world. It doesn't matter it is west or east, as long as you deploy it correct, you create the relationship through partnership, it is done. That's innovation also. Thank you. Okay, if there is no more question, thank you very much for giving me the chance, you know, to talk to, you know, the princesses and the gentlemen and my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ali Jarwan, the Chief Executive Officer of Dragon Oil, for the insight shared with us today. It was quite technical, but very easy to be understand. And this is the, you know, the balance that Your Excellency did. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.